Briefly talking about the priorities, these are the 5 key priorities which India during its presidency has set for G20 Tourism Working Group. The first is greening of tourism sector for a sustainable, responsible and resilient tourism sector. Harnessing the power of digitalization to promote competitiveness, inclusion and sustainability in tourism. Empowering youth with the skills for jobs and entrepreneurship in tourism sector. Nurturing tourism MSMEs, startups and private sector to unleash innovation and dynamism in tourism sector. And rethinking the strategic management of destinations for a holistic approach that delivers on sustainable development goals. So these are the 5 priorities on which Tourism Working Group is working and deliberating, and will bring out these 2 deliverables. The first is GOA Roadmap and Action Plan for Tourism as a vehicle for achieving sustainable development goals, which will be based on these 5 key building blocks and linking them towards achieving sustainable development goals. The second is G20 Tourism Ministers Declaration, which will endorse the key recommendations of the GOA Roadmap and also articulate recommendations for Travel for Life campaign, which has been launched by, as part of Life Mission by Honorable Prime Minister. So on day 1, we will have the meeting of Tourism Working Group with inaugural session, which will be graced by Honorable Minister of Tourism, Culture and Donor. We'll also have Minister of State for Science and Technology, Shri Arvind Singh. We'll also have LG JNK, Shri Manoj Sinha. We'll have G20 Sherpa, Shri Amitabh Khan. We'll have Chief Coordinator, G20 Secretariat, Shri Arvind Singh, and Secretary, Ministry of Tourism. So that will be the inaugural session. After the inaugural session, there will be 2 working sessions. The first working session, we will deliberate on the second draft of GOA Roadmap for Tourism as a vehicle for achieving sustainable development goals. UN World Tourism Organization is helping us in preparing this roadmap, so they will be making a presentation. Then all member countries' delegations will be giving their suggestions and feedback. In the second working session, we'll have a presentation on draft G20 Tourism Ministers Declaration, and we'll seek interventions, feedback and suggestions from the delegates.
Given you a broad outline of how the flow of events will be. So from that you see that the key deliverables are that the Goa Ministerial Declaration and the Goa Roadmap that we will debate on here, because the final meeting of the G20 Tourism Ministers will take place in Goa in June, and this is the penultimate working group meeting. The 4th meeting will also be in Goa, followed by the ministry. So in that context, this meeting assumes significant importance, because the draft of what will be adopted by the ministers will be finalized at Srinagar. It's also important because this is the only working group meeting that is happening in Srinagar as part of the G20 effort, and we have seen excellent response from all the member countries, from the invitee countries and from the international organizations. In terms of participation, we have one of the highest numbers that have registered and got accredited to come to attend the working group meeting, compared to the last 2 that we saw at Run of Kutch and Siliguri. And Chief Coordinator will tell you, because he's seeing the other working group meetings also. So very encouraging attendance, which has really encouraged us to make foolproof and adequate arrangements for the meeting. Also, what you are seeing is that taking the importance of this venue, we are organizing 2 side events. The themes are film tourism and ecotourism, and the deliverables there that you will see will be that a national strategy on film tourism, the draft will be unveiled, and also on the ecotourism side you'll see the Travel for Life campaign, which will be also launched, which is in tune with the Mission Life campaign launched by Honorable Prime Minister and UN Secretary General some time back at Kevadia. We are also taking this opportunity to immerse the delegates in local sightseeing, seeing the local arts and crafts, enjoying the local cuisine, and the overall experience and the natural beauty that the state of Jammu and Kashmir has to offer. As parting gifts, we are giving them 1 district, 1 product, souvenirs to take back, which are products produced in Jammu and Kashmir. So we welcome the participation of all the delegates from the G20 member countries, the invitee countries, and international organizations to collectively advance the tourism sector globally and to achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goals of 2030. The G20 event at Srinagar presents a unique opportunity to highlight the tourism potential and cultural richness of the region. Thank you.
Friends in the media. As many of you would undoubtedly know, we are now at an approximate halfway point in our presidency of the G20. In the last approximately 6 months, we have completed 118 meetings in 46 different cities across the length and breadth of our country. We obviously, for every meeting that is held, there is a lot of planning and preparation and organization. And I think the meeting in Srinagar is no exception to that. This has entailed planning at least a year and a half prior to this actual event. The G20 Secretariat and members of the Ministry of Tourism have been visiting Srinagar. Secretary Tourism and I myself visited tourism. This is the second time we are here in advance of the meeting. When we came here about a few months ago, we saw that there was a lot of work in progress. Srinagar is a smart city. There was a lot of effort to complete the work relating to the smart city project. We also looked at many of the areas that were relevant to the G20. And I can say with all sincerity that as we drive around the city, we see a completely transformed Srinagar. We've gone to the markets, we've gone to the riverfront, we've gone to the lake area, we've gone to many of the other places that we visited the last time. And we found that Srinagar today is vastly more beautiful. Its facilities and amenities are that much greater. There is a lot of pride when we talk to many of the citizens, when we move around the city, in some of the systems that have been introduced, whether it is underground optic fibers, sewerage systems, water and drainage. I think from that perspective, it is truly a smart city of the type that we would like to showcase to the rest of the world. And tomorrow, as you would receive a very large number of international delegates that will come from some of the most influential countries across the world, I think we can say with pride that this is one of our most beautiful, naturally scenic, but also one of the most beautiful urban environments that we can present to our guests from across the world. Now, one thing that is that Secretary Tourism and Additional Secretary Rakesh Ji has already told you is that the tourism working group is a very specific one. It is actually one of the working groups that is most in line with our objectives to present our rich and diverse cultural identity, to also present to the world our tourism potential. And no other working group does it better than the tourism working group. In the first working group of the tourism engagement, or rather the tourism group, we was in Ran of Kutch in Gujarat, western part of India. The second one was in Darjeeling in West Bengal, in the eastern part of India. The third, of course, which is Srinagar, which is the northern part of India, will present to our tourism representatives from across the world one of the most, as I said, scenic spots in our country, and from the tourism perspective, very, very relevant. But what is more important, I think, is that we have tried to bring in specific elements of tourism, as Secretary mentioned, whether it is sustainable tourism, eco-tourism, adventure tourism, film tourism, what is relevant to J&K, what is relevant to the Union Territory and the people of this place is what is being highlighted in this tourism working group meeting.
Welcome to J&K. It's a huge welcome to you, and it's not only on my behalf, but people of J&K have been looking forward to this event with a lot of anticipation. In fact, I had a lot of people saying that how can we participate in G20? And I don't know how to make them participate, because you can't participate in the discussions. So we held a lot of events in universities. We held a lot of events in the sports arena. So there has been huge enthusiasm. And the mayor of the city will be hosting a lunch. And many of you will be invited there. So welcome to J&K. Just about tourism, last year, 2022, this was the highest ever number of people who visited J&K ever. And this was 1.88 crore. And so some of you who may not understand crores, it is 18.8 million. And the number of tourists who visited Kashmir last year was twice the previous highest, which was in 2017. That's the change. So this is just the beginning. Mark my words, this is just the beginning. Next year you will have trains coming here to Srinagar straight from Delhi. And this will be a marvel in its own way. It will be a technological wonder, if I may say so. And the national highway will be great. Some of you might actually want to drive from Srinagar to Jammu, just for the driving pleasure, in 6 months' time from today. And the trains will be beautiful. Many people have experienced J&K and may not know that J&K has a lot more to offer than you have seen. J&K has 4 colors. How many of you are aware? There is a white Kashmir in winter, there is a rainbow Kashmir in spring, there is a green Kashmir in summers, and there is an orange Kashmir in autumn. Experience each one of them. And you may have seen only few sites which Srinagar, Gulmarg, and but last year and the year before, we said it's not about few months in a year, it's about 12 months a year tourism. And some of the sites that people never thought will be open in winters have started to remain open. For example, Shrinagar now remains open throughout the year. And we have facilities. So we have 300 new destinations coming up. And with the amount of tourists that are flowing in, we need them to disperse them and let them enjoy the. In fact, many of the sites in J&K, both Jammu and Kashmir, are picture perfect. If some of the sites are straight out of the picture postcard. And you have seen the riverfront. I'll just mention a few more things. One is that it adds about 7% to our economy. And I'm extremely grateful to Government of India to have hosted this event here, because that allows J&K to occupy its novel sort of slot in the tourism. If you are thinking tourism, it has to be sort of J&K starting with, because what it has to offer in terms of natural beauty is unbeatable. Today you have seen the Dal, and I keep saying the Dal is clean step up. You will have lots of light and clusters of light that you will be seeing, and I welcome all of you to experience in the evening. The riverfront has come up now, Polo View has come up now, the Residency Road and so on and so forth. I'm not going to count it. Jammu area, you will have the Ravi Barrage coming up, so you will have Jammu upgrading itself in terms of tourism potential. Jammu has a lot of tourism potential. J&K as a whole has immense tourism potential, and extremely grateful to Government of India to have given us an opportunity to sort of host this event. Just a couple of more things and I'll close. One is that we expect to cross the number of 2 crore this year, definitely. And one of the very positive signs that has happened this year, and this Mr. Singh, you might like to take note of, that foreign tourists have come in a very large number this year. So this is catching up and going ahead. So we have already caught on with the previous numbers, and so that's a very healthy sign that we have a lot of foreign tourists arriving here. Very, very healthy sign, and we are looking forward to welcoming both Indian guests as well as foreign guests, because when it comes to hospitality, there is nothing to beat J&K. And people of J&K are so hospitable, and you should experience it. And the second thing I wanted to tell you, that this event will be there for next 3 days, for 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th you will be going back. In between we have made a lot of arrangements for you to be able to go out and see some places. Prerna is there, is Secretary Information. She will be able to help you with, if you wish to go to some other places apart from attending the event here, you will be facilitated. So experience J&K, and the transformation that is happening in J&K. Srinagar is just a small example of that. You can see the transformation in every sector and everywhere. And we feel very proud of being part of this. And we feel extremely happy that Mr. Arvind Singh and Mr. Singh have allowed this event to be hosted here. Look forward to you enjoying your time here, and look forward to all of you coming again. You'll be busy this time, so you will not be able to experience as much as you would like to. But after 25th as well, some of you who are coming from outside should come back again and experience J&K. And but I hope you have a very wonderful time over the next 3 days. Thanks for being.